Hey guys, welcome back for another video. We got a good one prepared today. What we'll be doing is we'll be breaking down our Big Ten championship matchup we have coming up to wrap up the 2024 college football season. There's a lot riding on this game. Whoever wins the Big Ten gets the bye week when they make the playoff. They get to sit out the first round of the playoffs. That's a massive thing there. You don't want to underestimate what that bye week would mean to both of these teams. We're going to have Penn State playing off versus number one Oregon Ducks, the unanimous number one pick. We're going to completely break down this game and give you our predictions. Who's going to win, who's going to lose, and what the final score will be. We'll also touch on the best bets, the money line, the spread, the over-under. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments, please drop them below, and I will respond. Every week, we go over every single college football game, the top 25 ones, the non-top 25, and we also do the same thing for every NFL game as well. If you're a football fan, if you're a sports fan, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can follow along with us. So the Big Ten championship game is coming up, wrapping up things up at 8 p.m. on December 7th, which is this coming Saturday. We're going to have number 3 Penn State 11-1. That only lost to a close Ohio State Buckeyes loss. They'll be playing number 1, the only undefeated team left in Division I football, the unanimous 12-0 Oregon Ducks. Right now, Penn State actually, from the fans, has a 53.8% chance to win this game, but it's the Ducks who are the Vegas favorites. They are 3.5-point favorites. The over in here is 49.5. This is going to be a low-scoring game. This is two top 10 defenses facing off. Anything can happen in this game. I think when it was going to be the Buckeyes versus the Oregon Ducks, due to the rematch factor, Oregon beat the Buckeyes by, 1 point? A very close game, went down to the final seconds. It's hard to beat a good team twice. A lot of people were going to come into that game favoring the Buckeyes to win the rematch. With the Buckeyes sliding out, Oregon and Penn State, they're in the same conference, but they have not played yet this season. That's why some of the fans are giving Penn State a bit of the edge there. Both teams have really good defenses, but Penn State has a slight edge on the defensive side. But either way, they're both still top 10 defenses, so there's really not much of a separation between the number 5 defense and the number 9 defense. They're both elite on the defensive side. Both of these teams were built in the trenches. This is going to be a trench warfare game. It's going to be decided at the line of scrimmage. This is Oregon's first year in the Big Ten. A lot of people were doubting their physicality. I said when the season started, those people just haven't watched Oregon football. This team was built in the trenches. Dan Lanning has been recruiting and working the portal in the trenches, stacking up the big bodies there to beat these teams at the line of scrimmage. But Penn State's going to make that very difficult. Penn State has a great aggressive defensive line. They're going to get after it. Top 10 in sacks, top 10 in tackles for a loss, top 10 in quarterback pressures. Can they get to Dillon Gabriel? Dillon Gabriel has his legs. He's a mobile quarterback. He can extend plays by running. Are they going to be able to bottle him up and keep him in the pocket? One of the most accurate passing quarterbacks in all of college football right now. And it's not just the dink and dunk stuff. He can push the ball vertically down the field. They do have the weapons. Looking at the team stats here, you have Penn State coming in. They're averaging 33.3 points per game. They're throwing for 254.8, running for 194.7. One of the best 1-2 running back combos in the nation. Allen, Singleton, they can keep those guys fresh, rotate them throughout the game. That's when the physicality starts to take its effect, is in the second half. And they're only giving up 14 points a game. That is top 5 in the nation. Only 96.9 yards given up on the ground. Penn State wants to shut down the Oregon Ducks rushing game, force them into a pass-happy offense, a pass-first offense, which the Ducks are fine doing that, but obviously they want to establish the run game. That run game is always going to open up the play-action passing. Looking at the Ducks here, they're averaging 35.2. This isn't the Ducks offense of old where they were averaging 40 to 50 points every single game. They've kind of slowed things down. They still have a great offense, but it's not as good as it was in previous seasons. Think of Bo Nix, Marcus Mariota. They're not at that level, but they're still efficient with the football. They're throwing for 286.3, running for 170.9, and they're also only giving up 16.2 points a game, which is still a top 2 defense in the nation. Both teams right now are giving up just around 300 yards of offense per game. They are shutting things down. And looking at the playmakers here, Penn State, you have Drew Aller. He's closing in on 2,700 yards, 23 total touchdowns. He has 18 passing touchdowns, 5 rushing, and he has 5 picks, which is actually a career high. And then, of course, at the running back position, you have Singleton, you have Allen. They're going to be consistently rotating those guys. The X factor here, though, is not even their run game. It's going to be Tyler Warren. This is the guy you have to look for on third down, especially third and long situations. He is the guy they push the ball to every single time. Whenever they need a massive catch, it's going to be Warren coming down with that catch. Can Oregon's defensive line get enough pressure on Drew Waller to where you force him into some mistakes? That's what happened in the USC game. He had a sloppy game. He had three picks that game, but it was Warren who actually run the game. Even with all that pressure, he was feeling it. He threw it up. Warren came down with it every single time. Looking at Oregon, Dylan Gabriel was closing in on 3,300 yards, 24 touchdowns, passing 6 interceptions, and he's also ran for 7 touchdowns. They have Jordan James, a dominant running back. He's closing in on 1,200 yards on the ground. They have Johnson, they have Stewart. They have a legitimate, really good, deep wide receiver core, especially when they're all healthy. They're not just a run-happy offense. They can throw the ball. It's going to be hard to make the Ducks one-dimensional, but this is a Penn State team. They played great running backs throughout the season. They have a great defensive line. It's going to be decided second half in the trenches. Oregon really hasn't pulled away from too many teams like they did previous seasons because their offense just isn't that offense this season. But this is the Big Ten championship. Can they win it their first year in the Big Ten? Can they silence the haters, win the conference? They avoided the rematch with the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes faltered at the very end versus Michigan. Penn State has their chance. Franklin has been licking his chops, waiting for this chance to make the Big Ten championship. He's back in it right now, and he's playing the newcomer, the Oregon Ducks. Can their legitimate, consistent physicality win this game? So how do I have this one going? I honestly think this is a lot closer than people think. To me, this is practically a 50-50, almost practically a pick-em. This one can go either way. And at the end of the day, they're both making the playoffs no matter what happens. But you want to go into the playoffs hot, riding a winning streak. You want everything to be churning, full steam ahead. I have the Oregon Ducks scraping out the win, winning it early fourth quarter, owning that fourth quarter. That's when they pull away and make the difference here. They win this one 28-20. I have them covering the spread, but we're just barely going to go with the under. So that's a breakdown of our Big Ten championship game. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments, please drop them below, and I will respond. Thanks.